All right, let's talk about something big that's brewing, something that's happening way faster than most people think. A perfect storm is gathering right at the heart of the tech world. We're talking about an AI memory crisis, and it is a big deal. Let's dive in. So you gotta ask yourself, why are the world's biggest tech companies absolutely scrambling right now? I mean, we're talking the giants, the hyperscalers, the big AI players. What's got them so spooked? What do they know that maybe we don't?
Well, the answer is they're bracing for impact. They see what's coming. They are in this high stakes, all out race against a coming shortage, a shortage of one of the most critical components on the entire planet, something our whole digital world is built on. Okay, to really get what's going on, we need to look at the market right now. And honestly, things look kind of calm, but it's deceptive. This is absolutely the calm before the storm. If you just glance at the headlines in 2025, you'll see stuff about manufacturers actually cutting production of memory chips. And that's because, yeah, PC and smartphone sales have been a little slow. But this is creating a totally false sense of calm, a false sense of security in the supply chain.
But here's the thing. While that old market is kind of dozing off, a brand new one is waking up, and it is starving. This is the first major front of our perfect storm, a literal tsunami of demand, and it's all being driven by AI.
So, what are we talking about here? The component at the dead center of this whole thing is called NAND flash memory. Now, that might start technical, but it's really simple. It's the super fast digital storage that powers pretty much everything, from your phone to massive data centers. It's the foundation of our entire data economy.
And AI, oh man, AI is just devouring this stuff. It's eating up memory like nothing we have ever seen before. It is the number one driver of future demand, period. Just to give you an idea, the demand for bits is expected to grow by over 12% in 2025 alone. And trust me, that's just the warm-up act.
This AI boom is completely changing the game for data centers. See, for years, they just used those old-school, cheaper spinning hard drives, HDDs. But for AI, no way. They're way too slow and they suck down a ton of power. So the whole industry is shifting to what are called Enterprise SSDs, which are built on that NAND flash we talked about. Yeah, they cost more upfront, but they use up to 8 times less power and give you the insane speed that AI clusters need to function. When power is one of your biggest costs, these SSDs aren't just a good choice, they're the only choice. So, okay, we've got this absolute explosion in demand. That's stormfront number 1. But remember, we're talking about a perfect storm. And for that, you need a second front to collide with the first. And that, my friends, is a massive looming drought on the supply side. And this isn't just one simple problem. The supply squeeze is a triple threat. It's 3 huge headwinds all hitting at the exact same time. First, we're literally hitting the laws of physics in manufacturing. Second, the big money, the investment capital, is getting pulled to other more profitable things. And third, we've got a geopolitical wildcard that could just wipe a major producer right off the map. Let's unpack that first one, the physical limits. Think of a 3D NAND chip like a data skyscraper. For years, to get more storage, we just built taller, adding more and more floors. But we're getting to a point where adding the next floor is becoming insanely difficult and ridiculously expensive. The technology is getting extreme, the costs are ballooning, and that's putting the brakes on how fast we can grow supply. And that brings us to the geopolitical wild card. It's a huge one. Take a look at this market share. There's a Chinese producer, YMTC, and they've grabbed a pretty significant 9% chunk of the entire global market. But, and this is a big but, they are staring down the barrel of potential U.S. sanctions. If that happens, their access to critical manufacturing equipment could be cut off overnight. That would absolutely cripple their production and poof, nearly 10% of the world's NAND supply could just vanish instantly. So let's recap. You've got a demand tsunami on one side, a supply drought on the other. You can see where this is going, right? These 2 massive storm fronts are on a direct collision course. And that leads us to the billion-dollar question, doesn't it? What happens when an unstoppable force, this insane AI demand, crashes into an immovable object, a supply wall that just can't grow fast enough? The answer? You get what the people on the inside are calling a supercycle. And look, this isn't just some analyst in a back room making a guess. This quote is from the CEO of Phison, a massive player in the space. He's saying flat out that severe shortages are at hand.
He's not saying if, he's saying when. And the year he's pointing to is 2026.
And let's be clear, this isn't your typical market hiccup that fixes itself in a year or two. No way, because the problems are so deep, so structural, those physical limits we talked about, the money flowing elsewhere, experts are warning that this shortage, it could last for a staggering 10 years.
So, in a massive shortage, who wins? Well, the people who make the stuff, of course, the manufacturers. And if you want a sneak peek at what's coming, just look at Micron. They're projecting their gross margin is going to hit 51.5%. That is an absolutely insane number in this business. It's a huge flashing sign that prices and profits are about to go through the roof.
So what's the bottom line here? Look, this isn't just some nerdy story about chip companies. This new reality is going to create some very clear winners and some very clear losers. And you better believe it's going to affect you.
So let's break down what this supercycle means in the real world. For the manufacturers making the memory, it's basically a license to print money, a golden era of huge profits. For the tech giants, the Googles, the Amazons, the Apples, it's a mad dash. They have to lock in their supply contracts right now before it's all gone. And the smaller companies, the startups, they're going to be at the back of the line, potentially priced out completely, which could really kill innovation. And for you, for us, well, get ready. We're talking higher prices and lower availability for basically anything with a chip inside. Phones, cars, laptops, you name it. Brace for impact.
So if you're a company that relies on this tech, what do? The playbook is pretty clear and it's urgent. Number 1, secure your supply. Lock in those multi-year contracts yesterday. Number 2, you got to redesign your products, make them smarter, more efficient with memory, because every single gigabyte is about to become like gold. And finally, number 3, stop just looking at the sticker price. You have to think about the total cost of ownership, TCO, where things like power consumption and performance are what really matter.
And all of this leaves us with one last, kind of unsettling question. You know that saying, data is the new oil? Well, if that's true, then this crisis is all about who controls the refineries. When a tiny handful of companies control the literal physical building blocks of the entire AI revolution, who really controls the future?